Meteorologist Tuttle here. For years, I've been recommending Ferguson Roof Systems to homeowners across Oklahoma. So when Mother Nature struck my house, it was an easy call to make. There's no one I would trust more than Ferguson Roof Systems for my home's roof. Since 1977, Ferguson has led the industry with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and lifetime warranties. Plus, they'll even deal with the insurance companies so you don't have to. So when Mother Nature strikes, make your first call to Ferguson Roof Systems.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Tuttle with you. It is Monday night about 9:30. We've got some winter storm action to talk about, so we're going to get into that data here in a little bit, give you a little early preview of the forecast, and go into a little bit more details of what's going to happen and why. So thanks for joining me. Welcome back. Been a lot of changes here from AT's weather in the last 72 hours, in case you haven't noticed. There's going to be some changes, obviously, that if you have been a supporter from AT's weather, nothing's going to change from that standpoint. So nothing is different there. If you have not been a supporter on the platform, that's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be streamlining some content for subscribers only. So it's going to be kind of restricted. Now, some of you, some of it, maybe kind of like a paywall, you may call it, because that's what some of these platforms kind of signified as that. But the bottom line is it's going to be a little bit different. So some of my coverage, including my live tornado coverage, will be for subscribers. So make sure you tune in and join in one of those platforms. You do it on YouTube, Instagram Live. You can do it on, I've got locals now set up. You can do it on TikTok Live. You can do it. Rumble doesn't allow like a direct stream, so I'm using locals for that. So if you're on Rumble watching, make sure you still sign up that way, but you can do it on the locals platform, and of course YouTube, I think I mentioned, and Facebook. And so there's a little thing here. How do I get this thing to shut up? There is over here. This is a setting up here on this browser. Google Chrome changed something, and now it's just dinging, and I'm like, oh, it's bothering me. How do I get this thing to shut up? Of course, it's new and it hides the button. There used to be a button you could hide it to where it goes silent. Where is it at here? Hold on. Here it is. Sound. Oh, I found it. Phew. Yeah, they moved to the left side. It was the right side. All right, that's good. Okay, so no more dinging. I was getting annoying. Instagram Live, by the way, when you guys are joining, you can also subscribe on that platform if you want to do so. If not, you can do the other platforms as well. It doesn't matter. Regardless, there's always going to be a Facebook private group page for everybody, no matter which platform you're on, because the platform itself will control the membership feature that you're on. So if you wanted to have a dual option, you can send me a message and send me like the screenshot of whichever platform you're on, and I can get you in that group as well. That way you've got a couple different options. I know everybody's a little different on what they want, and if you want to chat with people, etc. Anyway, so all that said and done, just that's some changes coming up for severe storm season. So if you haven't done so, get on that now, because it takes a long time for me to get you approved. I'm only one man. Me and Jody are working as hard as we can, because a lot of you don't follow the rules. And that makes me want to pull my hair out. What's left of it is I'm losing it. So yeah, if you follow the rules, answer the questions, send the receipts, all that kind of stuff, it makes things a lot better. But anyway, welcome for those of you folks for tonight. Okay, so let's jump on into the weather. Obviously, we got some big stuff coming. So right now we've got some clouds out there. If you haven't noticed, it's a little chilly here at the AT's weather studio. I'm at 35 degrees. And we're not going to really go much anywhere on the temperatures for the next few days. So just get used to the cold air. For out there right now across this state, we do have lots of 30s in the blue. There's some freezing temperatures in the panhandle. Where you see this yellow line is the line in the sands. Once you get west of this, you do drop below freezing. Now today we did hit into the 30s for daytime highs and some 40s. So it was a colder day today than it was yesterday with the cloud cover and a little bit of rainfall out there. Speaking of which, if we do look at the radar view here across Oklahoma and surrounding areas, you have a little bit of rainfall. It's a cold rain. Big difference, though, with rainfall at 34, 35, 36 degrees than it is at rainfall at 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. One is just a little chilly, and then one is a nightmare when it comes to roadways, power outages, all that kind of stuff. A big difference is a few degrees can make, and we've had a lot of these close calls this year, this winter, so how about that? Even some lightning with some of the stuff down here on Allen, Holdenville. Now, if you go up here in the far northeastern Oklahoma, we are getting dangerously close to so view these numbers close to the freezing point. So you might get a little touch of some light freezing drizzle and rain, etc., or snow changeover as we go through the rest of tonight. So there's going to be a little bit of a winter mix, as we call it. You can see here in the pink and orange and red shading up here in northern Arkansas. There's a winter weather advisory in effect up here because you are at temperatures right around 30 degrees or so, and so that will cause any precipitation that you do have turn into a little bit of that icy mess. So you need to be really careful overnight tonight into Missouri, northern Arkansas, far northeast Oklahoma, and then really as we go through time, anywhere where you're going to start to get precipitation as temperatures continue to cool. So that's kind of the big picture right now, what's happening currently. And like I said, this is a developing pattern and storm situation for the next 24 to 36 to 48 hours. All right, so here's a look. National Weather Service made a couple of graphics here for tonight. They have that wintry mix up here in northwest Oklahoma and also into northern Oklahoma for Tuesday. So it does come in just to the north and west side of Oklahoma City. Doesn't quite make it into the metro, but just does on the north and west side. So that is our short-term forecast here. And then for Tuesday night into Wednesday, it brings that all the way down here into the Oklahoma City metro area here in the pink shading. So the highlights here are going to be late Tuesday evening through Wednesday afternoon for the bulk of the precipitation. We're talking about a little mixture of rain, freezing rain, and snow. Up to 2 inches or so of snow in northern Oklahoma, up to about a tenth, or maybe 2/10 of an inch of ice here in central and western Oklahoma. So the impacts are potential disruptions to travel during the day on Wednesday, especially where the freezing rain occurs, and that's early in the day. In other words, that is when you start to head out in the morning. And then as far as snow and ice amounts go, again, light amounts, but it doesn't take much to cause problems on the roads, unfortunately. Snow and sleet amounts up here anchored to the cross, pretty much north of I-40. Winter weather advisory already in effect for that area. Will extend down here to Oklahoma City as well. Just give it time. Let's see. And the other thing for Tulsa, you guys, of course, I mentioned tonight, you're already seeing a little bit of action with the temperatures getting close to freezing, but here's that winter weather advisory here for north and northern Arkansas. Let's see here. For Tuesday, same kind of idea. They kind of anchor most of the winter mix precipitation just north of Tulsa. Let's see, for Tuesday night into Wednesday, they bring that south of Tulsa. So again, a light icing accumulation here in this area through Wednesday afternoon. So you're going to have a little bit of mixed bag of all precipitation types. And, you know, if we had all just a cold rain, it'd be fine. Even if we had just pretty much an all snow, it would be fine. When you have what they call the winter mix, so to speak, that means you do have that ice accumulation, which causes some problems. Here in Oklahoma City, by the way, if you look at this is a model standpoint. I just want to show you. This is kind of a neat little graphic. What you see here at the top is our temperature here in Oklahoma City. Now, the graphic starts from left to right, so time, all right, T for time, goes this way. All right, so we are looking at, let's see, we'll start you at, let's go tomorrow morning. So here's 7 o'clock in the morning. All right, and then we're going to go tomorrow afternoon to tomorrow evening. So here's 7 p.m. tomorrow, and then here's 7 a.m. Wednesday. So you got it? So as you look here, the temperatures don't change. We hold into the 30s, low 30s at that, and they get just a little bit colder, progressively colder through the period by the time we head to Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. And then we start to get the light precipitation. Of course, we have some out there now, but then a little bit of a break, and then we're going to have some more that develops in this time frame. And you see the pink? That indicates the freezing range. In other words, that's where temperatures and the rain will be coincided together. So which means Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, we will be getting that frozen precipitation with the amounts here on this model is up to about 2/10 of an inch of ice accumulation. So here's your little look at the forecast here in the short term. If you got to go, you don't have any more time, nothing's changed. That's pretty much the way it is. Now let's dive into what's happening and why. Now here's a look at the jet stream pattern. Upper levels of the atmosphere. So what we have is a failure to communicate. I always have to say that just because of I'm a child of early rap. Okay, let's see here. We've got a southwest flow here aloft in the atmosphere. We do have this little area here is disturbed weather. This is our upper level flow that contains our lift in the atmosphere. The brighter the colors, the stronger the lift. So like, for example, up here, that's very bright, that's very strong lift. This is very strong lift. This is pretty medium, but it will intensify. So we go through time, put this in motion on into Tuesday morning. Look at this big chunk moving through right here. This is our big rainmaker coming in for tonight, tomorrow morning. That's kind of what sets the stage, get a lot of moisture and precipitation around here. And if you look here on the back end, see this right here? This is our trough axis kicking in, and this is what's going to kick in our big round of winter weather. So we head into Tuesday night and Wednesday. So this will be right here coming into Wednesday morning. So you can see how all this moves across the central plains for Oklahoma. Now, if you live up here north in Arkansas, excuse me, that is not Arkansas, that is Kansas. Kansas, you're going to get a lot of snow out of this. Same thing for Colorado. The skiers are going to love this pattern. Regardless, that's a lot of lift in the atmosphere coming through the Rockies on into the central plains for our Wednesday. Now that batch will move off, and then you have kind of a wraparound back end little wave that'll move through. This is usually like a little light snowmaker for Thursday morning that'll zip through. Won't do much, but it'll be there. All right, so that'll move on out, and then this ends at this forecast period for Friday morning. But this mess right here is storm number 2, and that will be moving into Oklahoma as we head into Saturday. And we'll see what that does here in just a minute. Okay, underneath that broad upper level lift is a lower level lift, and we do have the brighter colors. We can time things out where you really get the heavy stuff. So let's go here to Tuesday night at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is 9 Zulu. So where you see the bright reds, this is the very heavy stuff. This is where your bulk of your heavy precipitation is going to fall, and the timing for that. Once you head into the 12Z time frame, that's around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, you can see that that round has now begun to press into eastern Oklahoma and into western Arkansas. We still have some light precipitation on the back end of it, but not nearly as heavy as it was. So again, if you're trying to time this out for travel, Tuesday night after midnight through Wednesday morning is not the ideal time to be on the roadways. Give the crew some time to get those roads under control throughout the day on Wednesday. Here's Wednesday morning. Still, you get moderate lift here still across the region, so the precipitation is not completely done, but although the heavy of the stuff has moved off to the east. Now here's midday Wednesday. Now it's starting to move away, and now we start to dry things out, cool things down for Wednesday afternoon, and there's Wednesday night. All things quiet. Here's that little batch for Thursday, getting a little light snow right around here for Thursday. All right, and then that moves on out. Looks as a quick little maker. Moves gone. It's not going to do much. It's just some flurries, very light dusting at most, as far as any significant accumulation. Okay, and then we're going to zip through and out of that one. Okay, also the moisture we talked about that we have. The blue represents good, solid saturation. The lower levels of the atmosphere, just a couple thousand feet off the ground, just to show you where it is anchored here for Oklahoma and Dallas and all the way down to east to Arkansas, down to really South Texas. So not much sunshine coming out here for a while. As we move through time, this is all going to be for tonight through tomorrow into Wednesday. You can see all that we're just kind of sucked in. Here we go. Now we're getting the back end of clearing. This is Wednesday afternoon. So there's the back end clearing moving out of here. We get some sunshine out here, some breaks coming in. So the weather does improve, at least visually. And then let's see here. We keep those clouds out of here. Good. For at least a couple of days, for the most part, at least the low level stuff. Okay, so now let's go for temperatures. It's kind of important, obviously. Now, I'm curious, how do the temperatures do right now? Let's just go right here. The temperature's busted already. I love the models this time of the year. And this was so fun about winter weather forecasting, because the models will often bust on the cold air. They just never quite get a good grasp of really how cold it is. They miss these little subtle spots where they get valley pooling, cold air drainage, all that kind of stuff. And so they can mess up a forecast, and they can call for just rain. And it turns out, no, we've actually got some freezing rain. We got a little bit of snow mixed in. How about that? So the models can do that, and that's why it's very tricky to get these exactly right. It is not an easy game to play. All right, let's go to, let's see, where was it? I had this thing stopped. Well, let's go backwards. How about that? Here we go. All right, so here's 4 o'clock Wednesday morning. So again, if you assume the models are off a little bit, then you can bring the cold air down maybe a little bit more to the south, maybe something like this. But regardless, this is your zone where you're going to have freezing rain and sleet for our Tuesday night, Wednesday morning in there, as far as anything that's significantly accumulating that would cause problems on the roadways. And there's your temperatures in the blue, which will be at or below freezing. If we do look under the clouds, into the radar animation, this is the forecast of what the model thinks how precipitation would look if you were to take a radar in real time. In other words, it shows what would be DBZ values. Those are just power returns. In other words, how heavy it is. So, for example, like tonight, let me show you this. This is the actual radar. Okay, show you what this looks like, what this means. So this is a radar which shows you the returns. When it sends out the energy, it comes back, and it shows you the raindrops. So we look at that here on this live screen. All right, so you can see the little yellows. So these are all what we call DBZ values. So right here, like the yellow and red, these are DBZ values up around 20, 30, 40, which indicates moderate rainfall. So in other words, if I'm looking at a model forecast of what this would look like, okay, I got it. So you're going to call for light to moderate rainfall. All right, so let's go back to the model data. So again, this is not real, this is simulated. So we call a simulated radar. And so it has our simulated yellow and orange DBZ values thrown in. Okay, it's not bad. Model did pretty good. All right, so kind of an idea. We'll take that forward. Let's see what happens. So let's go to tonight, again, mostly in eastern half of Oklahoma. And you do see, though, just a little blue piling up here, right? And a little purple up here. Again, that's that wintry mix up there, a little snow mixed in. So that will continue very light, so hardly detectable in the model data, which means it's not going to be very heavy. So don't get too excited. Overnight into tomorrow for Tuesday. Now, as we go through time, let's see what happens here. See, you get this transient. See this little blue echo at Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. Just curious, if I do a forecast sounding on that one, right here is where our freezing line is in the atmosphere. Okay, so to the right of this right here is above freezing, and to the left is all below. So most of the atmosphere is below freezing, but this little nose to the right of it is our problem for freezing rain, just so to speak. And I'm going to show you what that looks like when we actually get the freezing rain here in a second. So let's go through time. All right, so let's go on. We'll go to 4 o'clock Tuesday in the afternoon. Keep going. See, there's nothing really heavy showing up yet. All right, so here we go. Tuesday night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Now we're midnight on Wednesday. Now we're starting to get some action as that upper wave approaches from the west. There's our upper level energy coming in, all that lift in the atmosphere. Now we're starting to crank out the precipitation. Okay, so now let's see what happens down here in Lawton. Just south of you, it's green, which again, that means rain, right? So if you look at the forecast profile in the atmosphere, all right, so red and green. Red is temperature, green is dew point, and we're looking up in the atmosphere. If you take a balloon and you let it go up and you measure it, this is what we call a skew-T sounding, and we can plot little lines on the chart to find out how cold and warm things are. All right, so again, if we look back here, our background temperature, this blue line, we're right here to the right of the line. That's a big right of the line. So, I mean, that's warm. That's warm air advection profile, which means that's a cold rain. Now, does it get down below freezing? And it does a little bit here, but then it's back above freezing here. So according to the model, it's just going to be a very cold rain. Close call, but cold rain. Now, if you go a little bit more north of that, say we go up I-40 out here to Elk City in your neck of the woods, same thing. We have that little nose that dips in right here to the right of the line, but most of it is left of the line. In other words, this is all mostly frozen. The air is very cold here, so the rain starts to freeze and turns into basically ice in the form of either freezing rain or sleet. And so there'll be a little bit of back and forth action there. And then once you get up here like northwest Oklahoma and Kansas, your thermodynamic profile right here is all left of this blue line, this little faint blue line, which means this is all frozen. So in other words, all you get is snow. You don't get the mix that the rest of us get. Okay, so let's go through time here. So let me go back this for midnight. Okay, so let's go to 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock. There you go. There's your mixed bag of freezing rain here in Oklahoma City. Surrounding counties. Goes into a little bit of sleet action up here toward Enid and Ponca City, and then snow once you get up into the Kansas border. And then some heavy freezing rain, by the way. This is a good heavy freezing rain signal here in the model data. So this is about 4 o'clock in the morning. This is a flash freeze event. In other words, if you're driving around the roadways and you're bebopping along and it was just a cold rain and your car thermometer, it said 33 degrees, you thought everything was great, and maybe it was said 32, and you're driving along going, well, it's just wet. This isn't even a big problem. Then all of a sudden, done. It's frozen over, just like that. So when you get heavy enough, it offsets the warmth under the ground, so that doesn't get a chance to melt it from the heat trapped in the dirt in the ground from many inches underneath. And therefore, it's cold enough and heavy enough to overcome that, and you get frozen highways, bridges, overpasses, some roadway streets, slippery sidewalks, etc. And that's what it's going to be for Wednesday morning here in Oklahoma City Metro and also in Tulsa. So if I look back here is 5 a.m. Tulsa. You get that mixed bag there. Again, the models are keeping you on the warm side, on the south side of Tulsa. Remember, caution on that. Could easily be down here at the Muskogee, that freezing line. Let's see, we head into 6 a.m. Wednesday. Still got the mixed bag going on up here. Now it's starting to get lighter. Remember, we're starting to lose a lot of the lift, the heavier lift that we had over the western parts of the state. So now it's mainly the eastern parts of the state. But there's that snow up there to the north. There's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So we got some snow. Yeah, we'll see some snow here in Oklahoma City, some flurries coming around. So for example, if I were to do a forecast sounding, by this point in time, we are well left to the west of this blue frozen line, which means this is all frozen in the atmosphere. In other words, no more ice, that kind of deal. But we're drying out. See the spread between these two? That means you're drying out in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. That means the lower level is saturated. So you'll get some light snow out of that, but you're not going to get anything like heavy as far as ridiculously accumulating snow. That's come and gone. We just don't have the rest of the ingredients to do so. Meanwhile, the snow kind of dries up elsewhere over the state for Wednesday, and then look at that. See that? Look at that. That's our little Thursday surprise. Look at it just zip on through like a little UFO. All right, so this guy right here, we'll just do a little forecast sounding for that. Again, the freezing line is right here, so everything is well left of it, so you have no threat of any rain, any mix. It's just going to be good old-fashioned snow, and it's pretty saturated. That's a pretty good profile. It'd be a pretty good little snowmaker. It's very quick, very transient, so it may dump a quick ½ inch, maybe an inch at most. That's probably all you can get out of that, but still pretty cool to see. That's our little as it wraps around. Okay, so that's the view of Oklahoma. What about the rest of you guys? Are going, okay, what about us up here in Kansas? So again, here's a big picture. In Colorado, so there's all your snow blowing up here as we head into for Tuesday night. Okay, so Tuesday night from Colorado now through Nebraska, Iowa, half of Kansas. All right, we get into Wednesday morning. Again, we'll have our winter mix down here in Oklahoma, but up north it is all snow for you guys. All right, we'll keep going in the afternoon. So now Missouri's getting on the action for Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon. Snow still wrapping around here for the western half of Kansas and Nebraska. Now it's in Iowa. Good winter storm up there for the Central Plains, and it's all out of here, by the way. It's a quick mover, which is good. If it's a quick mover, that means less precipitation can accumulate, right? Okay, so let's zip on past that. We'll go to the next big signal here in the data. Now, the models I've been telling you for the last few days have been all over the place with Saturday, just so you know. There has been no rhyme or reason, no consistency. It's just a signal that comes and goes. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's warm, but we do know it's there. So here is a look at Saturday morning. So there's our mix once again across Oklahoma with rain, maybe a little bit of ice and snow as you head into northern Oklahoma into Kansas. This kind of zips through the northern half of Oklahoma, looks like for the most part, as far as the lift in the atmosphere and the moisture along with it. May not have quite as much moisture to work with as our midweek storm did, and I put that in the blog that I released yesterday for you to read on my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com. And then let's go to Saturday night here. There's our heavy snow for Missouri, and there's a little wraparound snow right here in central Oklahoma for Saturday evening, and it's all said and done. And then it's over with for storm number 1 and storm number 2. Everything else in between is either just rain and or, like we said, light flurry or dusting on Thursday. So as far as anything heavy, big wise in the atmosphere. And then we got another one probably Tuesday of next week. I'm not going to talk about that now because we got enough obviously on our plate here. Temperatures, by the way, will be very cold Thursday morning. If you look at the European data, it's up around 16 degrees. It's up around the minus numbers, -2, -7. These are not wind chills, just actual air temperatures on Thursday morning. So obviously we've got some really good cold Arctic air moving in. Talk about snowfall amounts. Let's take a look here at the ensemble model spread. Kind of focused here across the Central Plains because this is going to be a snowstorm for those folks. And you're going to get most of this on Wednesday, but you will get a little bit of it on that Saturday system. This is mostly for the Wednesday system. So if you are traveling, if you live up in this area, this is the Canadian. All right, so several 4, 5, 6 inches widespread. This has come down, by the way, and they do that once you get closer to the event. They get you real excited, several days away, and then they back off. This is the European, same idea, 3, 4 inches of snow mostly. There's a 5 in the bullseye there. All right, the American model. This is the one that loves to overpromise and underdeliver, but it's got about 9 inches here across central Missouri. Otherwise, about 4 to 5 here in Kansas. All right, the UK Met. There's another little east to west line. Otherwise, some decent snows, 3, 4, 5. And the SREF looks like about 4, maybe 5 up here. So decent snows. So it's not unheard of, for this event. So it's a good snowstorm. I think they can probably handle it pretty well. I mean, they're kind of used to getting this kind of stuff, so I think they'll be all right with roadways. You're going to have a period where travel will be discouraged, of course, but crews will work as fast as they can, and it will be just snow, so at least you will not have ice to deal with. Now, if we look at the operational models here for Oklahoma, here's a blend of those, which is very conservative, just to show you how far south the snow may go. And yeah, you can get some light dusting of snow in other parts of Oklahoma in the south, but I-40 seems to be the sweet spot in the data on average as to where you're going to get accumulating snow. And then, of course, the further north you go, the more snow you get. So if we look at some of the outputs, this is UK Met. UK Met favors, again, about a ½ inch of snow in Oklahoma City, but up to around 2, 3, 4 inches once you get to the northern counties of Oklahoma. The Icon model, the German model, it's got still about a ½ inch to Oklahoma City to 1 inch in Edmond. And then from there, it goes up to 1, 2, 3, 4. What is that? 6 inches of snow? How about that? 2, 3 up in Ponca City and Bartlesville. All right. The GFS, the American model, oh man, look at that. It's just little famine action going on here. Still about a ½ inch in some cases, otherwise 1 to 2 inches up across northern Oklahoma. And the European, last we go. Let's see, we've got 2, 5, 3, 4 in that region. So that's not bad, 6. So you're like, okay, which one is it, Aaron? Well, it's Monday for one, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's a 48-hour window, just started. All right, so the 48-hour window is when you really start to look at, forecast for snowfall totals. All right, so which one you go with? I like the European. Okay, so this is what the European data is right here. What else do I like? I like the Icon model. Now, they're not going to be exact, right? So in other words, if that has a big hole right here, it's got a big bullseye right here, that may not be exact. But so the take-home is you look at the trend. And the trend has been pretty decent for these two models to keep us some measurable snow up here, 2, 3, 4 inches, has not wavered much. If we were to have some fun and look at models I usually don't look at for snow, so we'll look at the NAM model. So let's do that one here. This going out to, how far out does it go to? It does go to Saturday evening, okay. Or excuse me, Wednesday evening. All right, so it has streaks of snow because it has a lot more of that ice mixed in the model data. But there's 2, 3 inches of snow from Ponca City up here on Bartlesville. There's some heavier snows up there into Kansas. All right, and then I don't think the HER goes out that far yet. Let's see what it does. It goes through Wednesday evening. Okay, so that's what its shot is. So it's got a little significant bullseye of snow in this region, 2, 3 inches of snow. All right, so the difference here in the short-term models versus the Euro. Remember, this is just off the press. It just came in. I'm just now looking at it live with you, so I have to do this on the fly. But you can see what the trend is. The short-term models are favoring this batch of snow in this part of the state that's significantly measured from 2 to 3, possibly 4 inches. All right, where the European model had also hinted at maybe more action in this region of Oklahoma, northwest. I don't have a problem with the split of both. All right, so in other words, I like the European split having significant measurable snow at this point in time. We can always look at this tomorrow, see what the new data holds, but I'm fine with what the European is doing here on the data, so that's good for me. Okay, so now what about if we add Saturday's event? Are we going to get any additional snow? So let me back this up. All right, where are we at here? Okay, so this goes to Saturday evening. All right, so I'm at Saturday evening. All right, so Saturday evening on the blended models didn't add a whole lot. The Icon model, it dropped a little bit more to the south. Okay, so it included more of southwest Oklahoma and a little bit more down this region. All right, so that's the difference from the secondary system. This also probably includes on Thursday. And then the American model didn't really do much. The European model didn't add a whole lot more to it either. But anyway, so that's what's happening. It's like if you get most of your action Wednesday, you're not doing a whole lot right now on Saturday, but that could change because we're still several days away. We'll see how much more we have to work with. But anyway, regardless, we do have a little bit of measurable snow for each event. Now the ice, we talked about this again at the beginning of this broadcast. That's the big problem that we're going to have as far as roadways are concerned. And the high-resolution NAM does favor significant icing here over central Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma City, again up to 2/10 in the model data, so it's got a sweet spot, bullseye right here in the greater metropolitan area. It also has a highlight spot up here across the panhandle of Texas, just south and east of Amarillo, between there and Lubbock. About 1/4 of an inch of ice in the hard-hit spot. Up around Tulsa, again, questionable here because remember the models don't handle cold air very well. It's possible you could have this extended in here, so don't take this verbatim. And yes, it is possible this could sneak up just a little bit more to the south and just a hair bit more to the, that's north by the way, and a hair bit more to the south. Not by much, but just by a hair. So don't look at this as a hard line in the sand. Just look at it as a general area. And the whole thing, like this, can shift north and south just a little bit. Won't shift by much. It'll be just barely a little bit. But keep in mind, if you're anywhere in or close to this zone, that's where we're going to have deterred traffic for Wednesday, especially the first part of the day. Second part of the day will probably be better because the heating from the ground will help to overcome the roadways a bit, and the crews will be out, plus other people driving on the road, all that kind of stuff. But that is what it looks like. Anyway, that was a high-resolution NAM. Here is the lower-resolution version of it. Still has kind of the same look to it. The American model doesn't even know what's going on, so we'll throw that one away. The European model, similar to the NAM, but look what it did. It shifted everything more to the north. See that? Now, will that pan out? Yeah. I happen to like the other one. We'll see what the HER does. It doesn't quite go out all the way, but let's see what it does for its totals. Interesting. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to do a... since HER has a completely different look, let's see, let me go to this time frame here, and we'll see what it does. Okay, so you see how all of a sudden the gray comes up? So this is our 1 a.m. in a Wednesday morning, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. There you go. All right, so the big difference here for the HER, and I will tell you that caution that the HER typically is a little warm for winter, and it's sometimes a little dry, but it seems to want to save you guys in this spot. I'm a little leery of that. And then otherwise, red here, 1/10 of an inch elsewhere across a big chunk of western, central, northern Oklahoma. Now this may cut down the snowfall totals up here. If that happens, that is why we saw that snowfall output. That is why it had more snow here and hardly any snow out here. So it looks like it's going to give you all ice in this event versus snow. And that's a change, and that's different than the rest of the models. Let me look here at Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Let's see what the forecast looks like there for the sounding profile. Oh, that should be, it's all, oh, that's why. It's doing it more of yeah, it's a bust in the model. I think it'll be snow, so no, I don't like that at all. I'm thinking mostly snow. Okay, by the way, there's a stream. I'm getting a flashing red, so one stream's not working tonight properly. It went down or I don't know, crapped out on me, so I have to figure out what that one is. Otherwise, I think we're done here as far as a recap of what's happening with the event. Got pretty detailed for you. Temperatures over the next few days, like I mentioned, the 30s. Over at Lowe's, coldest coming up the next couple of mornings. Let me see. I'm going to go with the European data and put that up because there's something wrong with that data that I don't like. So where is it? Right here? Yeah, we'll do this one. Okay. So that gets us for, we won't be 40. We'll be in the 30s tomorrow. So that might be like a midnight. I'm not sure what that's referencing. It won't even be midnight. But the European is not always going to be the best. This is just going to give you a trend. Let's see. So for temperatures, obviously coldest next couple of nights, and then Saturday ahead of that next system, depending on the time of arrival, how much we can moderate the atmosphere that we're going to have in this period. We might do this. This is a big stretch. This time of year you can have some pretty wild swings, but we'll see. Otherwise, on Sunday, another cold day after that storm system does come through on Saturday, and then you can see how temperatures kind of just up and down. Big waves, big changes. It starts to get warmer, then it gets cold, starts to get warmer, then it gets cold. And this trend continues. We still supposed to have, let's see, this is show up very well in this data set, but somewhere right in here, our next little winter weather maker could be another winter mix across Oklahoma for a little bit of rain, sleet, and snow. We'll have more about that later. But needless to say, it's a fun time of the year as far as forecasting goes. Okay, so that is everything I had here for you. So let's see here. So which stream is not happy? Which one's angry? Let me see here. I'm just curious. Who was complaining? Oh, Rumble was complaining. Oh, then locals complain. Imagine that. Okay. It's always fun when you do this on the fly because I'm broadcasting to multiple streams at once, and you have to fix stuff. If something breaks, it's just you to fix it. Ain't nobody else gonna fix it, and you gotta act quick. Plus, you gotta monitor everything else. So anyway, that was I don't know what happened with that. I have to look into that, see what went on. So if you were watching one of these other platforms and it kind of dropped, or the stream faded or whatever, there was obviously a little issue there. So I'll have to look into why that did what it did. So I'll have some technical answers here to figure that out. Okay, so everything was good. So if you watched it at the beginning, I kind of gave you the short version of what was to expect, and then went into the longer version. Because I know you guys sometimes you don't have time to watch everything. You do want to get the short version of the forecast. So I'm going to kind of change that up and do that differently as well. Welcome everybody on YouTube, again, for becoming supporters on that channel. So when I do go live, there is a YouTube option to where only members will get that broadcast. Same thing for Facebook. There's a Facebook fan subscribers where it only goes live to, and then of course the private group page where to go live to. Locals has the option to go subscribers only. Same thing for Instagram Live. You can do subscribers only for that one. TikTok as well. You can do subscribers only live. And did I get them all? Rumble cannot. The only thing Rumble can do is like a private stream, but then I have to send out a URL for that private stream, and that's a pain in the butt, so I just cut that off. So you have to do locals, or you can do the other ones, and then you can get your content that way. But appreciate you guys' support. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I gave the reason why the other day on one of these lives, and just a 30-second recap of it. The platform is the how do I say this? The field has changed in social media. There's now thousands upon thousands of content creators. And what happened was there was first off, none of this was monetizable back in the day. When I was doing all this, you just did out of your own pocket. So that's where I started. And that was 2010, 2014. It wasn't until 2019 when these platforms actually start to allow you to start to monetize some of the money so you can get some of your revenue back if you've been in it like me for a long time. And that never happens because as they're figuring it out, you're early. So, it is what it is. And then right about 2020, 21, somewhere in that time frame, content creators got flooded. It's probably part due to COVID. Everybody's sitting around, looking for a way to make money. So it was probably, that was a catalyst. But what happened was you got a lot of con artists, a lot of grifters, a lot of frauds, a lot of fakes, jump into various avenues and just start trying to make money. And it was the more outlandish you could get, the more clickbait you could get, the more the algorithms rewarded you and your content. So then your platform blew up, your channels blew up, the dopamine hit, everybody got, into the content because it was so sensational. And so it skewed everything. And then, of course, the algorithms then feed that, and then it drops all of this normal content creators like myself that don't go into that nonsense. And so I start to slowly dwindle, and I don't get served up like I used to back in the day. So that was a change. And then, so that also then drives up the revenue for that purpose. Secondly, when you now have a pool of revenue that's maybe, let's say there's only this much to share, and you have this many content creators in there to share it, and now you have this many content creators to share it, but there's still only this much revenue to go. Now you get the idea, right? It gets all watered down, and then it gets pushed to wherever the algorithms push it, which again favors the clickbait engagement farming style of creating. So obviously that's not going to work for me anymore because I'm not in that mindset. I'm not a fraud, so I'm not going to sit there and post a bunch of crap just to try to get clicks and views, and I get irritated by that. And so anyway, so something had to change. So for me to survive and even keep doing this, I had to do it. Otherwise, I can't afford to do this. Plus, I don't want to do it anymore because then it's kind of like, how long are you going to work for free? And I work too hard to not pay bills. So I was like, I'm not doing it. So either I'm out and I retire and I'm done, I pull the plug, or I got to switch to what everybody else is doing in my shoes, and that is doing a subscriber-based platform where some content's still free, but then other content is for subscribers only. You can call it behind a paywall or whatever, and you can see that in a lot of aspects with like Substack. That's become huge. Now I have my own website, so I don't need Substack to take another chunk of money and views. I have my own website to do that, so my blogs and stuff will still continue to go through there for AaronTuttleWeather.com, as it's always been. My app, weather app, is still free. AT's Weather to Go on Apple and Google Play, so you can still get all the data from that as well. The difference, what I may end up doing, if I can get enough people to subscribe, I can turn the ads off both of those, the website and the app, because honestly those ads, they don't do much anymore. They never really did a whole lot, but now they really don't do much other than just annoy you, and they annoy me. I don't like them, but a penny is better than zero. So they stay on, but if I can get enough of you to sign up, then I can turn those off. That's always been my goal. It's frustrating because in a weather game, in a weather market, you're so used to getting it free everywhere you go, so it's very difficult to make a living at that when you're outside of a subsidized entity. And by subsidized entity, where you usually got your weather from, which is the TV stations, the networks, because they pay their meteorologists, right? And how do they get their money? Because you're watching free news, right? Well, it's not free because somebody's paying for it. Well, it's all subsidized because advertisers pay for it, and advertisers are because they're feeding you, commercials and propaganda and whatever, so they can get you to go buy and do whatever it is they want you to do. So you're still getting used. You're just getting used in a roundabout way. But if you've noticed that model's not working anymore either. So you've noticed a lot of news outlets, from news magazines to even local news, they're all going also behind paywalls where you can only get certain things free and then you got to pay for others. So everything's transitioning. It's a big mess right now. It's a wild, wild west. So anybody getting into this, that has a normal, non-clickbait style, personality that's, kind of like me, which is science-based, and it's legit, it's calm, cool, collected. This world doesn't work anymore for that. It's been pushed over to the end. Now, will it bounce back at some point? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know where this place is going, but I know in the short term, for the next few years, that's where it is, and until it gets fixed or reset, it's not going to work. So anybody new coming in, like say for example, and this is unfortunate because this could have been a good avenue for meteorologists that are getting out of college and graduating, and there's not a place to hire them. Say for example, the National Weather Service, they don't usually hire a lot, and sometimes there's a freeze, hiring freeze. And then TV stations, they don't pay well. Newsflash, they pay crap. And they pay you in your fame, which is garbage too. If they try to sell you that, you don't want it. It's nonsense. So, ooh, yay! No. So anyway, that's different too, and that's drying up on that revenue side. But there's let's see, there's some other niche fields you can go into, but it's just meteorology is not really just a really huge field for job availability. There were a lot of people that try to make money at storm chasing, and there's a short window where that actually kind of worked out. Reed Timmer kind of led that in there and kind of started that wave, but even that's drying up because there was too many storm chasers, not enough revenue to go around. And then now there's some other things happening behind the scenes that's kind of messing that up. Plus, with AI getting involved, none of their stuff that they show, which is video that they can watermark, can actually stay now unwatermarked. There's too many ways to remove that and steal that content and share it. So that field is getting messed up right now, and it's going to continue to get messed up. It was never really, storm chase was never supposed to be a monetized deal. You chase it for the passion, for the love of it, not to clog the roadways and become a danger to others, and that's where it's now become. So that field's messed up. So when a meteorologist comes in and they say, okay, well I'll just be a meteorologist on the internet, and which when I first did that back in 2010, I was made fun of. They actually use that as a derogatory term. These are the people I used to work for in this market in Oklahoma City at the TV stations. They would try to. It was funny that they would call me out and go, "Don't listen to the internet meteorologist," like it was a slang term, like it was a someone who was just beneath you. They were such fools. So obviously they were nearsighted, didn't see the big picture like I did. But anyway, so that blew up for me at that time, and it worked out. Right place, right time, being a pioneer in the industry, doing something never been done before, and being ahead of everybody else. That's great. I mean, that's fun, but my goal, my motivation was to help people. So it just kind of, I used what I had, my smarts, and I figured it out along the way. Now people try to come in there, everything's already been done for you, so there's nothing new you have to figure out. The path's been laid. It's easy just to slide in. The problem is the views, and then if you're going to be a legit Met, you can't be sensational garbage, model, guy putting it out there. That's every snow map that comes out there and every this, and just use big crazy words and say we're all going to die and this is all going to be Armageddon. You can't do that stuff as a legit person in this space and make a living. Plus, I don't know why you'd want to do that, because then you're not legitimate. So, and a scientist coming out of the scholastic program and pathway, you're probably not wired to that anyway. So I don't know where that space is going. So that was a really long way to say that I'm not sure anybody coming out of school is going to be able to get into this field now and actually be successful because of the way it's rewarded the frauds and the cons that have now infected and invaded the weather department and the weather world. And you can see that the minute you put on any social feed, you'll see these guys with big eyes and doing this and making these crazy gestures, and they get the videos behind them and they're pointing and they're acting all stupid. Ugh. I got to turn it off, man. I'm like, I can't take any of this. There's grifters. They're all grifters. So it's messed things up. And it's messed things up, not only for me, but anybody else coming after me, anybody else is still in it. And so I have to adjust. And so that is a very long-winded answer as to why everything's changing the landscape. Whether you like it or not, I don't care. Whether I like it or not, doesn't matter. It is changing, and I gotta deal with it. So I'll be on that mixed bag of, again, some content still free, like I always do, like my website and app are still free. But some broadcasts that I do will be restricted to memberships only, and same thing for live tornado coverage. I cover tornadoes like no one ever has or will or can, because they're just not me. They don't have my brain, and they don't have how I think, how I see, how I visualize storm structure, all the training I've had, the fact that I'm a degreed radar meteorologist on top of it, storm chase for a living, so all that stuff, and then being able to communicate, process, it's a one-of-a-kind type ability that no one else has, and to be able to run everything at the same time, and to be able to handle technical issues that come up whenever you're streaming, and then not lose your cool, handle situations where obviously you have a damaging tornado affecting people and not lose your cool, and keep calm and keep everybody else calm as they're watching. So that is something that I recognized was unique, but I never really thought much about it. It's just me, right? So when you're you and you do you don't think a thing about it. And it's not until enough people come up to you and say, you do realize you're unique, right? And like, okay, yeah, sure. No, you're unique to the point to where no one can ever come close to doing what you do. And if you're struggling in what you're doing, financially, well, then make that what it is that you do. I said, okay. And I sat on that for a couple of years. And I was like, I just wasn't comfortable with it. But it was when I saw the space change and like I said, over time and get to where we are right now, I'm just like, I got to do it. If I want to survive, I have to do it. So that's where we are. That's what we're doing. It's nothing personal. It's nothing this. I don't want to help people. I always want to help people. That's why I got into this. That's just everything's changed and everything's different. So I have to adjust and acclimate. And my time gets more and more valuable as I get older. It's weird. You get to the middle part of life, and then all of a sudden you don't have enough time. And the time that you do have, it's like you start to be, I don't know, maybe more protective of it. That's probably the best way of saying it. So you want to give less of it out, and if you're going to give it out, you want to be rewarded for it, because whatever reason, that value of that has gone up exponentially since whenever you were in your 20s and 30s, we had all the time in the world. So that's another mind thing that happens to you at that point. And so your inherent value of what you're worth and how you want to share that, and then on top of that, your energy, how much you want to give your energy to others. There's a lot of grace, in your early life of you'll put up with a lot. You'll put up with a lot of people. You'll put up a lot of humans or NPCs that just do nothing but suck and take the energy away from you because you have so much energy to give. Then as you get older, you're like, you know what? I don't have as much energy as I used to have. And I want to be more protective of that energy. And I want to be positive energy. And if you have negative energy, you don't like something, you're gone. Bye. Poof, just like that. So it takes a while to get to that point to where you have the no F's given. So, and it's not that, and the deal is like, I'm not here to train you or teach you or show you how to be a better human. That's not my role, so why take that role on? My role is to give you the weather. My role is to save your life if you want me to help you do that with what the gift I've been given and I exercise. So I got to keep it more on that realm and then protect my energy core and my being and my world. And anyone now, like social media, there's a lot of times I just let stuff go, and then there's times I'd ban a few people. Now it's just instant. It's not even like it's so not even a thought. It's like I don't even read your name, the rest of your name. I don't even read the rest of what you even had to say. It's just gone, like poof, like you don't exist, just like that. Why? Because you try to take my energy. I'm not having it. So it's a zero energy tolerance policy. And if most of us live like that, it'd be so much better. Because you know what that is? That's a boundary. It's a healthy boundary. And if everybody had healthy boundaries, the world would be so much better. So I'm just doing my part for me. All right, that is it for me. I went way long, but now you know a little bit more about my thought process and all of this and where it goes from here. So I will be probably doing a lunchtime live tomorrow around lunchtime, of course, around noon. And then I probably won't be able to do a live tomorrow night. I'm having surgery in my forehead again. So like right here, it's like a bump or something. So doctor's going to cut it out. It's like a lymphoma or something. So I'll probably have like a big thing on my forehead, so with a bandage or something. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But if I have that, then I probably won't do it live because that'd be pretty weird. You just staring at a big things like you couldn't even see the maps. You'd be seeing this thing right here going, what is that on his head? But we'll see what happens. Otherwise, I'll make some post updates as far as the forecast if it changes any. But otherwise, you kind of know what it is. It hasn't really changed the last few days, so something pretty significant would have to change for that. I kind of gave you the caveats of what to look for and what to watch for. But otherwise, it's just a little bit of a winter storm. It's not too crazy, but it's enough to cause some problems on the travel and to disrupt your Wednesday plans. So if you haven't made your alternate plans for your appointments or whatever, you might want to do that. I had one for Wednesday morning. I changed it just because I don't want to drive in ice if I don't have to. So all right, that's it for me. You guys have a great rest of your night. And again, thanks for being with me all these years. If you have to go, I understand. But if you want to stay, doors open. seats warm, welcome. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Take care, everybody. Good night.